Welcome back to Red Card. I'm your host, Anthony Totera. Once again, thanks to a good friend of the show and a friend of mine joining us, University of Maryland head coach Sasho Surowski. Two of his players are going today, one to TFC, one to Houston Dynamo. A proud day for Sasho, a proud day for University of Maryland. What a day it was for Travis Clark of TopDrawersSoccer.com. He joins us once again. Travis, welcome, my friend.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure is all mine. Have you had a chance to take a deep breath and soak everything in yet, Travis? What a day.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty action-packed, but I feel like today kind of cruised by a little bit. It was a little bit nicer for things to move quicker.
So let's talk about it. Let's break it down. What a wild and crazy day. Chicago, I think, and Philly, and I would even say Orlando made a lot of noise, a lot of waves. The first pick to Chicago, they select Jack Harrison. Then we find out that they send him off to New York City FC. A bit strange there, but New York City FC got the man they wanted. Talk about it.
Well, here's the thing. If the Fire wanted Vincent, why not just pick him number one overall and get it done with? It seemed a little bit weird for all that to go down, but you know, it is what it is, and that's how things kind of spiraled out. It's certainly no surprise to see both these players end up where they did, although the Fire did have a Jovan Jones option already, but ended up trading him away to Seattle for a pick later on. So, you know, you can kind of look at that and scratch your head just a little bit, but at the same time, you know, obviously Brandon Vincent's the guy they wanted, and New York City FC wanted to, you know, make a run at Jack Harrison. They had that homegrown claim denied on him. So, all in all, I guess, you know, both teams got the guys that they wanted.
Yeah, Philly goes with Joshua Yaro. We expected that, but I didn't expect a third pick with Rosenberry. I know the teammates at Georgetown, but I thought for sure with Vincent still available, they'd go with the sure, real deal Vincent, a guy that I believe is going to play many, many years, and he's going to be a fantastic pro. What did you think of that?
I'm not as surprised as other people. Keegan Rosenberry's a guy that I'm very familiar with. I've watched him progress and play for 4 years, and you know, in some ways there might be a little bit more upside there than with a guy like Vincent because of Rosenberry's ability to get forward. He's got to show more on the defensive end, and you know, Vincent's got that certainly over him with the ability to shut down the opposing attackers. But I think that Rosenberry, you know, maybe there's something a little more there in terms of potential upside.
Let's talk about the pick that Orlando City made and the local guy who joined our show, Richie Luria of Akron and Sigma Product. He joins the number one pick, Kyle Lauren, a Rookie of the Year sensation. I think this is a smart pick. I think it's a wise pick. Why not go again to try and get a player that they know from Sigma? Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, you said it all there. They know Sigma. They're familiar with it. I'm sure there was a lot of communication with the folks at Sigma over Kyle as well. So that's a natural fit. And obviously, you know, a player like Richie may need some seasoning, and he'll have a chance to get that with the Orlando City B team entering USL later this year. So I think it's a good move for both parts. Luria is a really exciting young talent, a little bit raw as being you know, just a sophomore, but I think great pick, good move for Orlando City. You know, could end up paying dividends. You have a little bit of flexibility to work to figure things out with him and to help him develop.
Travis, let's be honest. I didn't see the TFC pick coming in Tsubasa Endoh of University of Maryland. We just had his coach on, Sasho Surowski. A lot of people didn't expect this pick, but maybe we should have with the combine and the great you know, display that he put out there. So to me, it's surprising. But to me, it's a pick that I think is well calculated by the TFC brass. Your thoughts?
Yeah, you know, he's certainly a good soccer player. There's no question. You know, he's a different player than what you're going to get with his background being a Japanese player who came over. You know, he's not like a Japanese kid who grew up in the States, but rather he came to the United States to play soccer at Maryland. So I think there's a lot of you know, high risk, high reward scenario for me. You know, because Tsubasa, you know, with the physicality of MLS and the sort of the approach that favors the athletic type, you know, maybe Tsubasa might not fit that mold, and he'll have to kind of, you know, he'll have to make more adjustments, and he'll have to show that he can adjust and succeed and thrive, be consistent for TFC. Again, it's nice to have the TFC2 back, TFC2 team to fall back on in case, you know, there's some growing pains there, but, you know, I think the best way to sum it up for me is high risk, high reward. Because there's a player there. It's just a question of whether that player will be a good fit in Major League Soccer.
The Champs with the 20th pick. I'm shocked and surprised, to be honest, that Ben Polk was still there with Syracuse. I think this is a steal. I think the Champs just got richer today.
Yeah, it's certainly a good move for them. He's not necessarily a classic number 9, target forward, back to goal, but someone that could really do well, I think, in a 4-3-3. Obviously, the Timbers seem to favor that. Rodney Wallace is going out the door, so or at least according to reports that I've seen lately. I'm not sure what the latest is, but if he's going out the door, it's not a bad replacement for Wallace.
Let's talk about a pick that I don't think a lot of people are talking enough about, and I think this pick is going to go down as one of the best in this draft, and that's DC United's pick, Julian Buescher of Syracuse as well. I like this kid. He brings a lot to the table. We heard also today, I'm pretty sure that it's devastating news for DC United, that Bill Hamid is going to be out for a while as well, so they're going to have to look to straighten that position out as well. Talk about it.
Yeah, no, it's a situation where DC United has had a need. Obviously, the goalkeeping situation is unfortunate. The news probably broke a little bit later, during the draft, that DC may have even targeted Andrew Tarbell, that Generation Adidas goalkeeper. But, when you look at a player like Buescher, I think he's similar to Endoh, high risk, high reward, good pedigree, good passer. But at the same time, that may not suit DC United's strengths, being a team predicated a little bit more to the long ball, but you get a sense that perhaps the team's going to maybe shift to a 4-2-3-1, try to keep the ball on the ground a little bit more. So I think if that pans out, I think Buescher would fit well if he's paired next to David Yarnow with an attacking midfielder in front of him. He would offer good passing, good creativity in sort of a deep-lying box-to-box mold. So, yeah, again, for me, it's kind of like the Endoh move. You're a little bit more risky than the other picks, but could end up being a player who can make a bigger difference than maybe some of the other defenders out there.
A lot of people talked about Georgetown, Maryland, but to me, I think North Carolina really made outstanding strides and had outstanding success with a couple of their players going today. Omar Holness with Real Salt Lake, Jordan McCreery of New England Revolution. Talk about these two young men. I think Holness is the real deal. I think this guy can also surprise. He's got blazing speed. He's built like a tank truck, and he's got smarts, all sorts.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not to disagree with you, but I do think McCreery is the safer pick. He's a guy that, in my opinion, can step on the field right away and then give the Revolution an outside back option. They needed that. He can play left side, right side, outside back spot, and given the scarcity of those at times, it certainly could end up being a good pick. Holness, I think, again, I classify him as the the high risk, high reward type. Again, you could get a lot more. You could get a lot more than maybe a safer outside back pick or a safer center back pick, or maybe a more sturdier holding midfielder. But provided he makes those adjustments, Real Salt Lake is certainly a good landing pad for him with Javier Morales and Kyle Beckerman to kind of usher him along. So, I would take McCreery actually over the 3 North Carolina players picked today as the one who I see as the lock to offer a team something this year. Maybe not the upside as Holness, but I think maybe there's a little bit something more there, stable.
Just before we let you go, Travis, surprising pick for me in the first top 10 was the goalkeeper chosen from Clemson going to San Jose Earthquakes, Andrew Tarbell. I got to be honest, I haven't done too much homework on him. I'm sure you've done a ton of it. So tell us a little bit about this young man and tell us why San Jose was sold on making him their first pick.
Honestly, I'm not really sure why. I would have done something differently if I were in the position of San Jose, but I'm not running an MLS team. I just watch a lot of college ball. So, he's solid. People have been talking about him as, potential national team, but I just don't see it yet. There's a lot of goalkeepers out there. You have a lot of athletic, 6-foot-something players, and I'm not sure if he necessarily separates himself from the pack. Plus, where is he going to play? They have David Bingham already, who's a pretty young in his own right, maybe 24, 25, and could end up being a goalkeeper there for a while. But teams are talking about Tarbell being a lock to be like a 10-year vet, and I don't necessarily agree with that sentiment. However, I'll also toss in that I hate trying to evaluate goalkeepers. it's pretty difficult to do, and there's just so many more intangibles in a game that's already full of intangibles in soccer. So, I think San Jose could have done something a little bit differently. I sure would have. Though, they went to the bank with it, and the funny thing to me also, I feel like it's you have a great academy kid at Georgetown, actually. Speaking of Georgetown, JT Marcinkowski at US Youth International, who he's just not as tall. Maybe that's where his shortcoming is, a couple inches shorter than Tarbell, and maybe San Jose saw that, and JT is not a part of their plans in the future.
Travis, as we let you go, if the season were to kick off tomorrow, who in your mind, out of the top 10 players, would start on their team? Who are the couple players you really believe have a chance to start right off the get-go?
Starting with the Union, I think that you could see Rosenberry of the three start. I think Rosenberry and Yara could both be in the lineup not too soon into the season. Even Fabian Herbers, I think he's underrated in some capacities. I believe he's maybe not as high ceiling as some of the other guys, but I think he can definitely give that team a lift for sure. And the aforementioned McCreery, he's a guy. Again, I'm banking on him, proving me right, making me look smart with the Revolution. I think he's a guy that can. You're looking at preseason from day one. As long as he's fit, he's ready to go. He'll end up becoming. He could end up being a starter as the Revs open up the 2016 campaign.
Travis, great of you to take time to join us on a busy week, a busy day for you and all the staff at TopDrawerSoccer.com. You've got a lot of followers up here in Canada, especially in Ontario. You do great work, and a lot of people love the analysis, the breakdown of different players leading up to the draft. So continued success, enjoy it, and again, we thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me on. Anytime.
That is Travis Clark, a staff editor with TopDrawerSoccer.com. We'll continue on, and we'll talk with Paul Tenorio of the Orlando Sentinel. Boy, oh boy, were they busy. Richie Luria, and also Hadji. He also went into the first round for Orlando. They were quite busy. Hadji Berry. And we'll get the thoughts of Paul Tenorio on these two young men joining Orlando City, and hopefully one of the two will have a real shot of sticking with the first team. If not, maybe later on into the season they could be called up and given an opportunity. So we'll talk with Paul Tenorio back in a couple minutes here on Red Card. Stay tuned.